Turning to Syria, I think you all saw the statement the Secretary General issued yesterday, in which he said after 14 years of brutal war and the fall of the dictatorial regime, the people of Syria can seize an historic opportunity to build a stable and peaceful future. There is much work to be done to ensure an orderly political transition to renewed institutions, he added, and reiterated his call for calm and avoiding violence at this sensitive time. He also stressed that the support of the international community is needed to ensure that any political transition is inclusive and comprehensive and that it meets the legitimate aspirations of the Syrian people. He also added that Syrian sovereignty, unity and independence and territorial integrity must be restored. The Secretary General underscored that the United Nations remain committed to helping Syrians build a country where reconciliation, where justice, and where freedom and prosperity are shared realities for all Syrians. For his part, our Special Envoy for Syria, Geir Pedersen, is currently back in Geneva, continuing discussions with key international actors. He's scheduled to brief the Security Council by VTC this afternoon at 3 p.m. in close consultations. The Undersecretary General for Peace Operations, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, will also be briefing the Council at that time, also by VTC. Over the weekend, Mr. Pedersen issued statements which we shared with you on the events in Syria, and highlighting his engagement in Doha with relevant stakeholders. Further details regarding forthcoming convenings in Geneva will be shared by Mr. Pedersen's office as they happen and in due course. On the humanitarian front in Syria, our colleagues tell us that more than 16 million people already require humanitarian assistance in Syria, which is a huge proportion of the population that remains. And as the situation continues to unfold, OCHA says there is an urgent need for more shelter, food, and sanitation facilities. According to our partners, since November 28th, and as of yesterday, some 1 million people, mostly women and children, have been displaced, particularly from Aleppo, from Hama, Homs, and Idlib governorates. It's important to note that the situation is very fluid, with reports of more people returning in the last couple of days. Transportation routes have been disrupted, limiting movements of people and goods, as well, of course, as the delivery of humanitarian aid. Some looting of civilian properties and factories, as well as warehouses holding humanitarian supplies, have been reported. Despite the challenges and the volatile situation, we and our partners continue to provide emergency aid. In northwest Syria, all humanitarian organizations in Idlib and northern Aleppo have resumed regular operations, and the three border crossings from Turkey used by us to deliver assistance to Syria have remained open. In the northeast, we are providing supplies for those who recently fled Aleppo, and in Aleppo, we are providing basic assistance, including food, health, nutrition services, and support access to clean water. On the health front, health facilities are overwhelmed, as one can imagine, with major hospitals operating at a limited capacity due to a shortage of staff, shortage of medicine, and a shortage of supplies. Our health partners continue to provide critical services in impacted areas, including by providing trauma kits. There are also deployed medical units and reception centers, and the school access across Raqqa, Tabqa, and Al-Hasake. UNICEF and UNFPA have deployed mobile teams and established fixed clinics in homes. In northwest Syria, all 24 health facilities that had suspended operations recently resumed services, though others remain non-functioning, including for lack of funding. Sufficient funding will be critical for us and our partners to scale up the response to meet the level of needs. The $4 billion humanitarian response plan is just over 30% funded, with just $1.3 billion received so far. It goes without saying that the needs, humanitarian needs, and the need for funding is just increasing as we speak. OCHA reiterates that the parties must facilitate safe and unimpeded humanitarian operations to reach people in need wherever they are.